Hi everyone, I am Alexandra Bello with Flow Film Festival and Market Interview Series. Here I am with Blessing Egbe. She is the director of Coat of Alms feature film. How are you doing?
I'm great, thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background, your career, and your journey?
My name is Blessing Egbe from Nigeria. I studied theater arts from the University of Calabar, and then I went on to doing a short course in screenwriting at the City Varsity College in Cape Town. And currently undergoing a master's degree in film at the University of Kent. Um, Ever since I started filmmaking, I've always been inclined to tell stories that, affect uh, people, that would speak to humanity. If a story speaks to me, I always jump on it and tell the story. I I have gotten into quite a bit of, problems in Nigeria from the sort of stories I tell. Lucky Wives is one of those stories that opened up a can of worms, and I got a lot of threats, and my husband said to me, I think you should, stop telling this kind of stories. You're getting into a lot of trouble. But for some reason I can't. And Coat of Arms is another one that I fear may not go down well with a lot of people, because it's a story that exposes the ills that happen in the streets of Lagos. I don't want to give it away, but it's got to do with arms, begging, some syndicate, children, a beauty queen, and it's woven around a love story, but it's quite intense because it reveals, quite a lot of dirty activities behind the scenes.
But the thing that I enjoyed about the story is that it's a story that is entertaining. And like you said, like real life, it has all of these subplots going on. Because it's not just a one-dimensional story. It's about real life and how things, different situations intertwine with each other, and how the irony works, because that is exactly how things come to light. The irony of things. One person reveal something or unveil something because they had this personal interest in doing it. And on top of that, there is the love story behind it and the betrayal. So it's like a television soap opera, but a feature film. And I wanted to congratulate you because you told me that you're studying film, and you were able to make this beautiful feature film. And not only did you make like stretched it out enough for it to be considered a feature film, like an hour and 10, an hour and 15 minutes. No, this movie is almost 2 hours. So it was more, it was more story driven than it was about stretching it out to be a feature film.
Yes.
So I congratulate you on that. I congratulate you on the visuals, on the cinematography, and also on how you use the music to transition from one scene to the other. That was very very cleverly done, and that is definitely up to the director to pick the right music director and the right sound mixer to have the movie sound like a movie, because a lot of people have these beautiful visuals, but they are not there yet when it comes to the movies, to the sound of the movie. So I want to congratulate you on that. And the story, I do know, and that's why I asked you before the interview if this was based in real events, because the things that, well, the main topic of the movie has been lingering in my head, like this is probably happening exactly like that. And why don't you talk a little bit about the issue, the main issue of the movie that you are exposing with all the stories surrounding it?
On the streets of Lagos, if you're driving and you get into traffic, you would be swamped with children begging for money, begging for money. Sometimes you give these kids food and they don't take it. And I always wonder why. If you're begging, it's because you're hungry. But these guys are not just there for food, they are working for their masters. So yeah, so for me, I've always, sometimes, I give like a snack in my bag, and they would frown. And I go back and I take money and I give, but and you would see them looking around the corners, like they have people who are guiding them, because um law enforcement agents can pick them up. These guys are, mm, they've got tentacles everywhere, like their eyes are everywhere.
Tentacle.
And at the end of the day, you see this little kid entering a bus and going to God knows where. So I was intrigued, and I did my findings, and heard a lot about these happenstances, and I decided to put it into writing. And even while I was writing, I started searching online, and I saw that there was a link to to it's called, is it zakat? Yeah, in the Muslim community, there's this like in churches they call it tithe paying. So because the Bible says, or the Quran says, you have to pay a certain amount of money to beggars, these guys have manipulated it. They've turned it around to, they've used it, because Nigeria is a place where people really are prone to the things, trying to do the things of God. Oh, if God says we must give a beggar's money, we must. But these guys are not exactly going by the book. They've twisted it around, and people are now giving monies to beggars, but not exactly to beggars. They're giving to the guys behind the beggars, and the guys behind the beggars are just using these poor little children to make it go work faster. Because I tend to give money to children more than, if I see an adult on the street, I'll say go and get something to do. But if it's a child, your heart pours out to this poor looking baby, and you give. So for me, I'm hoping that this film would expose this craziness, and perhaps the authorities would look into it. Perhaps people would be more vigilant, and will not just throw money around, and perhaps the syndicate would maybe get a change of heart. I don't know. I feel like something ought to happen from this film.
Yes.
And I
And
hope I don't get into trouble.
I think you used the perfect word there, tentacles, because it's like
Yeah.
Everything is, it's like intertwined together, where you have tentacles behind the children, but you also have tentacles in law enforcement. And then it's
Yeah.
like a dog chasing its tail constantly. And years go by, and the problem continues, because it's not a problem, it's a fake problem. So I want to congratulate you on drawing attention to an issue, a real issue, a social issue that is out there, and using it to tell a story and have other sub stories around it to make it more entertaining and more watchable, but still sending the main message, which is the problem. Here's the problem, here are some solutions. And then at least you are training the mind of the watcher, of the audience, to not participate in the, it's like a game. Some people are playing the game on the table, but some people are not playing the game, but are still sitting on the table. So some people need to just stand up and get out of the table, get away from the table, because the bystanders are still, whether they're not playing fully, they're still around.
They're partaking of it. Yeah.
Correct. So hopefully, a lot of people watches your movie. through the festival, through other festivals, through distribution outlets. You know that Flow has distribution for the majority of the filmmakers that come to the festival. So that's great news for us to give to you filmmakers. And we just want your work and all of you that come into every season to be spread far and wide. And that's the importance about making a film, that a lot of people watch it. So, you know, So right now, I also, now that we spoke about the film and we spoke a little bit about your background, I want you to tell me what challenges, I know that you said it in your background, but this particular film, how hard was it to make? How long did it take you? All of it. How did you make it happen?
Yeah, we shot it during the COVID times. It was bad because I needed children, and I wasn't going to, you know, go get random kids, test everyone, and, you know, put them in a room together. The scene where we had all the kids in a room, that was like the most frightening thing for me, because I was thinking, oh, somebody's going to get COVID. So what I did was to go to a homeless, an orphanage home, and because they already lived together, we decided to work with them. So those were the kids that were in the movie. So apart from that, and trying to just make everything still look okay, but, you know, like the beauty pageant at the beginning, we wanted 200 people, but we couldn't, because, you know, the government said you had to space out people, and there was no venue that could contain a lot. So that was why we boxed them in and, you know, shot it the way we did. And we had to cut out a lot of scenes where a lot of exterior scenes where the actors were asked to wear masks, you know. So by the time we were editing, it looked so weird. I'm like, cut it out. I don't want to see any masks in here, you know. So those were the challenges. And of course, in Nigeria, when you're filming out on the streets, because we had a lot of exterior scenes, we had to deal with the real beggars and we call them area boys, like touts, you know, people who think they own the street. So for every minute, or every let's say every 15 minutes that you film, you spend more than, I'd say, 200,000 naira. It's like maybe $500 just paying people to get off your back, you know. So that's the challenge we face in Lagos when we film on the streets. Even when you have the security forces with you, we had like 3 police people with us. That didn't make any sense, because, you know, these guys come with weapons and they tell you to leave and all of that. So we had to face that challenge, and we also had to, we kept giving the beggars money, because they would, you know, they would come when they see the kids. They thought, you know, they were like new kids coming to take their space. It's like this thing is it's such a big deal, because they make so much money. Like, you can't just wake up and they're protecting their territory. So, you know, for every time we will have kids stand on the street, you know, with their bowls, we would have people come to challenge us. What are you doing here? You know, so I mean, that for me, that was so good when it happened, because it just reiterated what I was trying to film. Like, these guys on the streets. So that was mainly the challenges that we had.
Very good, very good.
Yeah.
I want to also congratulate you for making it happen during the pandemic, in the middle of the pandemic. A lot of people took that as an opportunity to not do anything and procrastinate. and other people took that as an opportunity to make things happen. So definitely being a leader in your field by doing that, because leaders, natural leaders, actually take a step forward when nobody else is walking and nobody else is going anywhere. So congratulations on that. And also I wanted to ask you, what kind of advice do you have for independent filmmakers out there, especially women nowadays, wanting to get into the film industry, also knowing the background about it?
Women have to just, come out of their shells and just do what they want to do, tell stories that they want to tell. Before I started, I'd spoken to like a few male directors, and one of them said to me, "Oh no, you can't direct. Just continue to do what you're doing. If you want to act, act. If you want to write stories, write stories. Leave the directing for the men." And for me, I felt really challenged by that. And I said, why? And he said, your crew members won't respect you. And I took that as a challenge. And I thought crew members will not respect a woman for what reason? If a woman knows what she's doing, everyone would respect her. If you know if you come to set and you have your everything planned, why would anyone not respect you just for being woman? So I took up that challenge, and I did a lot of studying online. I watched YouTube videos, and I went in there and I did my first film. And I got the respect that was not to be accorded to me. I got it. So I would advise every woman out there who's yearning to tell any kind of story to man up. We say man up in Nigeria because men are like, the
woman
supposed
up. To woman
exactly.
up.
Yeah.
Because
I'll say woman up.
Woman up. Because you know what? Women are
Yes.
the only like women, not talking about gender, talking about females, female director, about the physical traits of being a female. We have to deal with period pains. We have more pain receptors in our body, and we have more resistance to pain. So we can actually endure physical pain. It's true that the strength is not, the physical strength is always gonna be a little stronger from one sex to the other, but that doesn't mean that we don't have the more pain receptors and more endurance to pain, and that we don't put up with pain that men couldn't even put up with every month, for example. I'm talking about men that identify as men and women that identify as women on this conversation only, not talking about anybody outside of that spectrum. But it's important that if you want to do something, especially in your country or the country that you're coming from, for people to say, oh, just because you are expressive and tender and kind-hearted, you might allow people to walk over you. Not necessarily. You just have to allow people to say their piece, and then you have to stay firm with what you need to be done. And if you are organized, because directing is about preparation, vision, and discipline. So if you have those things, and we, no matter your sex, whether you're a female or a male, we have the ability and have the access to be organized, to be disciplined, to have a vision and follow through with it and not procrastinate. So I do want you to tell me, what do you think directing is about?
Planning. Planning, like after the whole writing, because I wrote and produced and directed. Directing is like the putting everything together and having that picture of what you want. You can write it down, you can sketch it or however you want it, but you have to be absolutely certain of what you want from that frame. And for me, that's what directing is. So you're directing the crew, the actors, the makeup, the costume. You are part of every detail that goes on that set. So a director is like a jack of all trades, and you just have to get it together. You have to plan ahead and just be sure. I've seen some cases where directors come on set and they're asking, oh, what scene is that again? You know, like they can't remember. For me, that's not what a director is. A director, you must know the story in and out. It has to be a part of you. And until the final cut happens, then you're free to go.
Yes, very true. Very true. Okay, let me now ask you, this is the last question. Why do you think that film is important for society, and what do you love the most about film?
What I love the most about film is the message of film itself. I like the fact that with film, while entertaining, you tell stories. You tell very you can go anywhere in film. You can touch any subject. There's no limitation of what you can do with film. And for me, that's why I love it so much. I can decide to do it. I can break boundaries and just tell any story that I want. And for this film, I think that's for me, it's what I love about Coat of Arms, because we went there where a troublesome place, but we did go there. There's so many villages in Nigeria where people just send off their kids to rich people go there and just, I don't want to use the word buy, but that's what really happens, because they pay money, and widows and poor people, they just send off children. And when they leave, you don't know what's happening to your kids. Like, these people use them for, it's not just begging, it's sex trading, it's trafficking, it's so many other things that they use the children for. So for me, film is just a way of exposing these things.
This is so true. They use them for so many different things. People need to take care of children so much.
Yeah.
And we do have a responsibility as filmmakers, because we have a talent that not everybody has, to tell meaningful stories. Tell meaningful stories, and have to fix a problem through it. And of course, stories that are not so torturous to watch. That's why you mix them and match them with something else to make sure that you are telling. It's kind of like fairy tales. Fairy tales were hardcore. They had some crazy stuff going on in the subtext, but they were fairy tales. And they were most of them were fairy tales that were talking to you about ugly things that were happening. The witch eating the children, the poisoned apple, all of it. It was the wolf, the story about Red Riding Hood. All of them, they had been told for many, probably thousands of years before we even got to know them and got to see them depicted as fairy tales. And these stories were telling you, or telling children, how to protect themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah, so storytelling is important. Visual storytelling is important and makes an impact in people, because you're grabbing all of their senses, well, the majority of their senses, when you have an audiovisual medium in front of them, or media in front of them, and it's important that we know how to use it, because we can persuade with it, we can inform, we can entertain, we can manipulate, we can plant a seed if we wanted to.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
So I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for putting this together. What number of movies? This is your second movie?
Oh no, I've done quite a lot.
But feature film.
A lot of TV series, but for film, yeah, feature film. This would be like my sixth.
Feature film?
Yes.
Okay, so 6th or 7th feature film. Very, very good. We definitely want to see more of you. And let me go ahead and invite and remind everyone that watches this interview. Is going to be all over the place on social media for Flow Film Festival and Market outlets. And I want to remind you all to look for Blessing Egbe. And she has other work, and we're going to be featuring her not only with this, but other things as well in the future. You know, we want to develop a relationship with the filmmakers, not only as a film festival, but as a distribution door or well, outlet, but more like a doorway to distributors and to different channels of distribution. And we ourselves will be working on something for the future that can allow filmmakers to reach more people. So I want to remind all the people that are watching this interview to attend the festival in September and look for Blessing Egbe and all of her work that is going to be featured in the film festival and in the future, and in any streaming services that we may have in the future as well. So thank you for your time, Blessing. Any final words?
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm quite happy to have been accepted, because that's just what this is saying, into the festival. And I'm very excited, actually. I'll tell you a quick story.
Yes, please. We have time.
I couldn't take this film. Yeah, I couldn't take this film to the cinemas because it wasn't your conventional film. Like in Nigeria, people tend to love like funny stuff, comedy, and like straight up romantic film. And while this one has a bit of romance, it was it was telling some. I mean, the Nigerian film censors board has banned so many films. Like there are places you go in film, and they'll ban you straight up. You open up any dirty can about like the police or whatever, you get banned. So I just said, you know what, I'm not going to the cinemas with this. I'm going to do festivals first and see how this story, because I didn't want anybody to sort of tell me remove this, remove that, don't show this, don't show that. I wanted the story to be told as it was filmed. So I'm quite happy about this. Yeah, just yesterday, Detroit Film Festival also accepted the film. So, this is like my second one. I'm so excited. And I hope that everybody comes
congratulations.
to watch the film. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So how many festivals have you been accepted to?
This will be my second, but I did apply to like 10 festivals.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good percentage.
Yeah.
It's usually going to be 4 or 5 that are going to accept, because always 50% goes in, or 50% goes out. Yeah. But you just finished editing this movie, so this movie is completely fresh, and you are now submitting it.
Yes, I'm hoping for more. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. You have a whole year. Yeah. Like a movie, once it's done, has 2 years of life. Of lifespan. So you have 2 years to promote the heck out of it and to put it in as many viewing platforms as you can, so it reaches more people. Once everybody has watched the movie, then you're already moved on to the next one.
Exactly.
Very good.
Exactly. Yeah.
Very good. I want to congratulate you again and thank you for your time on coming on the interview.
Thank you.
And
Thank
I
you
will
so
see
much.
you. I want to invite you, and I know that you will be there to come to the festival also, whether virtually or in person. And
Yeah.
I want to invite everyone who is watching this interview to get your tickets to go online. You can visit the festival directly from your phone and just attend via Zoom or via other apps that we're going to connect to our website. And again, I am Alexandra Bello with Flow Film Festival and Market Interview Series. Today, we had the opportunity to talk to Blessing Egbe, and Blessing was the director for Coat of Alms. It's a feature film, very interesting, and I recommend you all to watch it. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.